A British academic has in fact been sentenced to life in prison in the United Arab Emirates. He was facing charges of spying. 31-year-old Matthew Hedges, a PhD student in the Middle Eastern Studies at the Durham University, was arrested at the Dubai airport on the 5th of May. He had been granted temporary release on the 29th of October, but he was constantly monitored until the court hearing. Now, Britain has in fact described the verdict as shocking and has urged the Middle Eastern country to reconsider its decision. An auto wreck on the Brooklyn Bridge killed one person. It has also sparked a fire that engulfed almost about 3 vehicles and also cut off a key Manhattan River crossing. The entire bridge was closed for traffic for about an hour, and major traffic tie-ups continued to spill onto the surrounding roads as it was reopened, beginning with the Manhattan-bound lanes. Interpol has elected Kim Jong-yang of South Korea as its new president. Jong-yang, who had been serving as the acting president, was elected for a 2-year term at the body's annual Congress in Dubai. Kim will succeed China's Meng Hongwei, who disappeared in September and also later resigned after Chinese authorities said that he was being investigated for a case of suspected bribery. The South Korea's President Moon Jae-in has congratulated Jong-yang on becoming the first South Korean to in fact head the organization. Hundreds of Ukrainians on Wednesday marked 5 years since the Maidan Revolution, which ousted the pro-Moscow government but sparked a war in the east of the country and also led to Russia annexing Crimea. The President Petro Poroshenko and senior members of the government laid candles at a temporary memorial for the Heavenly 100 as those who died during the protests are known. Now, other members of the public also brought flowers to the emotional event. Renault has appointed a temporary deputy chief executive to take over the running of the French car firm following the arrest of Carlos Ghosn. The Renault has said that its chief operating officer Thierry Bolloré would step up to the role because Mr. Ghosn was temporarily incapacitated. Following an emergency board meeting, Renault has said that Mr. Ghosn will remain as its chairman and chief executive. Meanwhile, local Japanese media has also reported that authorities have extended the detention of the ousted Nissan's chairman Carlos Ghosn by almost about 10 days. Rescuers have ramped up their search efforts for those who are missing due to the recent California wildfires, as forecasts say that heavy rains are likely to hit the region, as the expected rain is feared to make it harder to distinguish carbonized human remains from ash. More than 500 rescuers from around the country have gathered in the Paradise town, hoping to be able to cover as much ground as possible before the rainfall. The death toll from the wildfires that started on the 8th of November has now risen up to 84 people, with almost about 700 other people who are presumed to be missing at this point of time.
This is our first day here.
Kim Kardashian and Kanye West have donated about $500,000 to California wildfires relief. West raised the money from his brand Yeezy and sportswear company Adidas. Kim Kardashian appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show and also presented a check of $200,000 to the California Community Foundation Wildfire Relief Fund. According to reports, she's also donated almost about another $200,000 to the California Fire Foundation, and another $100,000 was given to a firefighter named Michael Williams, who continued to save homes despite having lost his own. Hundreds of people protested outside of the Chinese embassy in Philippines' capital Manila over Beijing's territorial claims in the South China Sea. Demonstrators also carried placards of Winnie the Pooh mocking the Chinese President Xi Jinping, who is presently on a 2-day state visit to the Southeast Asian nation. Now, hundreds of student protesters clashed with the riot police in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. The clashes took place. The students were staging a protest and calling for better conditions at universities in the South American country. Now, the march was peaceful on the campus of the Central University of Venezuela. However, as students attempted to take the rally off campus, they were stopped by officers and members of the National Guard, who launched tear gas at them. Venezuela is presently in the grip of an economic crisis that is marked by soaring inflation that leaves residents struggling to afford what little food and medicine is available. The toys and stuffed animals were left on the stairs of the Colombian Congress in protest against child sexual abuse. The move was aimed at demanding abusers be brought to justice and children receive emotional support. Now, the country is also struggling with a staggering number of cases of sex crimes against minors. Big balloons were in fact blown up ahead of the 92nd annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year, and Little Cloud by Friends With You and Goku from Dragon Balls will be joining the parade. Now, old-timers, that is Charlie Brown, will also be present, and there are said to be a total of almost about 6 new characters and a strong representation by Netflix characters this year. Now, the march through Manhattan will also be joined by clowns, cheerleaders and marching bands. The acting U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker has announced that the Department of Justice will be funding almost about $56 million. He's also said that the law enforcement agencies across the country can purchase more bulletproof vests and body cameras. Whitaker made the announcement at an FBI facility in Manhattan. Whitaker has also toured the 9/11 Memorial and Museum while in New York. The Jammu and Kashmir governor has dissolved the state assembly. Massive protests are being planned by the National Conference, the People's Democratic Party and also the Congress to protest against this decision by the governor. The BJP has also called for some urgent meetings of its MLAs in the state headquarters. Rival alliances have had staked claim for the government formation in the state. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister and the PDP President Mehbooba Mufti in fact had written a letter to the governor Satyapal Malik staking claim to form the next government. It is then that the governor, in a span of an hour, went on to dissolve the assembly. And Kashmir People's Conference leader Sajjad Lone has also interestingly staked claim to form the government with the support of the BJP. A British court has asked the Indian absconding businessman Vijay Mallya to pay up about £88,000 to the investment banking company UBS. Earlier, UBS Group had tried to foreclose on a $26.6 million mortgage loan on former billionaire Vijay Mallya's London house, which overlooks the Regent's Park. UBS was in fact seeking possession of the property which Mallya, who is presently battling extradition in a separate case, had used as a family home. The UBS has expressed happiness over the court's decision. At least about 12 people were killed and over 50 others injured as a bus fell from a bridge in the Cuttack district of eastern Indian state of Odisha. The bus crashed into the railing of a bridge near Jagatpur town and then plunged into the dry riverbed of the Mahanadi river. According to eyewitnesses, the driver of the bus lost control when a buffalo suddenly came in front of it. The Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh has announced that Punjab police have identified the culprits behind the grenade attack. Singh, during the presser, has also displayed proof of ISI link. The Punjab Chief Minister has released the image of Bikramjit Singh, one of the accused held in the case. The Singh has said that ISI in Pakistan had in fact been very active and the Amritsar blast is a clear case of terrorism and not communalism. Ahead of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping's meet on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Argentina, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will visit China from Friday to Saturday for a new round of border talks. The Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi will be meeting for the 21st round of bilateral border talks under the Special Representatives mechanism. It will be Wang's first talks as China's designated representative. He had taken over from Yang Jiechi earlier this year. A huge flock of migratory seagulls was spotted in the western Indian city of Surat as winters have hit the northern hemisphere. Now, every year, these migratory birds travel to the state of Gujarat from different countries and then stay in the western state for at least about 3 to 4 months in the warm climate of this Indian subcontinent. A 3-day-long dragon boat race festival kicked off in the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh. Now, 3 traditional dragon boats also joined about hundreds of other boats in the festival, and over 300 boats with over 20,000 rowers sped across the river in front of the Royal Palace. This festival drew thousands of people from the provinces to enjoy the excitement of the race and also the colourfully decorated boats. A delegation from Chile's eastern island visited the British Museum in London to formally request the return of a 7-feet-tall sculpture. The artifact had in fact been taken from the island located near the Chilean capital of Santiago in the year 1868 by a British sailor who had later gifted it to Queen Victoria.